Welcome to Push with Love. Today we have Marie Clark. We're going to talk about marathon swimming, travel, changing careers, and the mental grit that goes along with it. Marie, thank you for joining me today.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me as a guest.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the thing that I really loved about our conversation was the idea of preparing for marathon swimming and getting into the mindset. Can we go into that a little bit? Talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So, first of all, most people don't know what marathon swimming is. It is considered a swim in open water, so not in a pool, that is 10K, 6.2 miles or longer. And so the most epic one that people think about is the English Channel. But that's a very long marathon swim. It's 21 miles. So marathon swimming is something that really requires, right, that mental grit, because there are many, many hours of just swimming in a pool, in a lake, by yourself, with only your own thoughts to kind of keep you going. And so it's a very interesting sport, because while it does take a team to succeed in marathon swimming, it's very much a sport where you are an individual. It's not like running where you can chat with somebody while you're swimming. It's you and the water and the movement.
It's beautiful. I always imagine how peaceful it is. Anytime I swam, it was never that long of distance, that's for sure. But I remember it being so relaxing when I would do laps. I can imagine it's a little bit different when you're swimming long distance like that.
Some of it is very relaxing. I just did a swim in New York in the Hudson River. It was so much fun, relaxing, beautiful, until about halfway, when my forearm started to hurt and I felt like I wasn't making as much progress as I thought I should. And I resort personally to counting strokes. I count 100 strokes and I counted, I would say I'm going to do 500 of them before I look up, and decided, I don't think I've gone far enough. So it's very much a mental grit of just keep going, keep doing one stroke after another, right? And trust the process and know that you've got the training and that you are making progress as you're swimming across the miles.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, when we were talking about the mental grit there, is there moments where people kind of fall into like a panic state when they feel like they can't go any further?
Some can. You want to make sure there's an element of safety. Again, you're in water. So marathon running, you get tired, you stop, you walk, you sit down. Swimming, if you stop, you better be able to float really well, because you got to stay up and breathe, right? So there's definitely, once you take that safety element out of there, for me, there's not a lot of panic. Sometimes there's a little, well, don't quit, right? There are definitely moments where you want to quit because you just don't feel like you're getting where you're going, but not a lot of panic. But then marathon swimming is not something you're going to do tomorrow, right? You're going to build up to it. So it gives you some practice that you don't end up in the panic situations.
Yeah, I like that idea. So you're kind of building up to that long distance swimming. So going into marathon swimming, what is the training like when you kind of build up to that? Is it like a daily thing that you have to constantly kind of expand on? Or is there kind of like milestones that you work towards?
There's usually milestones, like almost any goal that you set, whether it's in swimming or business or life. You don't try and do the whole thing at one time. So in my particular case, I started in 2017 with a 5K swim. And I had already done a mile swim. So it was kind of a little bit of a jump there from a 1 mile to a 5K. But then the next year I did a 5 mile swim. And the year after that, I did my first marathon swim. And so you kind of build up, and then you have to find a training rhythm that works for your life. Because sure, it'd be great for me to say I'm going to swim 4 days a week, 3 hours a day. I don't have that kind of time. So for me, it's, I'll swim a mile 2 or 3 days a week during the week, during the work week. And then on the weekends, I'll put in 1 or 2 long swims, depending on what I'm training for.
That makes sense. So you kind of balance it out there with all the other things that you have going on.
Yeah.
So I could see that really helping with business or life really is building that mental fortitude and that endurance, the ability to kind of keep yourself in stride, but also disciplined enough to make progress every week. Have you found that kind of crosses over into your business life or into your regular life?
It 100% crosses over. So the most common way people think of it is, whether you want to lose weight or you want to save money to buy a house. It's the same principles. You start small, you put away, $10 out of your paycheck each week. Then you figure out how to put away $25, and you just kind of build. You're losing weight, right? It's not that you can't ever have an ice cream cone. You just don't want to have an ice cream cone every day, right? You want to have a salad most days. And it's the same thing with business. I've recently become an entrepreneur and started my own business. And it's the same thing. You're going to do a little bit every day, and you're going to trust the process. And it's the same thing with marathon swimming training, marathon running training, triathlon training. It's all the same process.
Beautiful. So you started your entrepreneurship. What business did you start into?
I am doing business coaching, do a little bit of life coaching on the side, but I do mainly business coaching, working with entrepreneurs. My title is Client Joy Optimizer. So my whole business is Move to Joy, which really kind of fits, right, with the fact that I do find a lot of joy in movement, really enjoy that marathon swimming. Don't enjoy the sprinting part of my workout so much, but definitely enjoy, right, just moving my body and finding that beauty in nature. And that's very much part of what I want to do with other entrepreneurs through the business coaching.
It's beautiful. Yeah, I can completely relate to that. The rhythm of nature,
Yeah.
and getting your body kind of aligned with that rhythm and feeling it, feeling the energy. It's definitely a real thing once you kind of feel it, and then you kind of get addicted to it a little bit. Or at least I am. I feel like I need to get out into nature regularly to keep myself kind of level.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that with this entrepreneurship and with swimming, you said that you really kind of fell in love with travel. Can you kind of go into a little bit more about that, your experiences in traveling?
Yeah, so I already like to travel a little bit. And then when my husband and I got together, he is a huge world traveler. He's also a marathon runner. So he understands, right, that mental fortitude and the training time and the process. And so between the two of us, we have done a lot of traveling together and talking about nature, right, Micah? It's being in nature does energize us. And so one of the things that I love to do was just try out different bodies of water, just go swim in different places. And my husband urged me to start keeping track of them. And I've been now in 122 different bodies of water around the world. And it's just every body of water is different, but yet they all encompass that connection between us as humans and nature, and that the water and the feel and that rhythm.
That's really cool. So I'm guessing that you probably notice the different temperature, but also kind of like the different movement and rhythm of the water from each body.
Yeah, so there is a saying, you never swim in the same body of water twice. Because even if you're swimming in a lake, right, that water's part of the water cycle and always circulating. But each body of water has a unique taste and unique how it looks, both from the surface and when you're actually in it. The salinity of our oceans is different. Most people kind of know that, but if you have swum in multiple oceans, you actually can taste, oh, this is really salty. This one's not quite so salty. So it's just been a fascinating piece. And I have to say, though, if you've never been to New Zealand, the water in New Zealand, every lake is a different color. It's amazing.
That is really cool. Yeah, I haven't really traveled too much, but I would love to travel one day and see everywhere. But it does sound really cool, different colored lakes. It sounds like something that would be fun to paint as well as the sceneries to travel to. Do you enjoy any forms of artistic expression like painting?
I am not the artistic one in the family, nor the musical one. Other siblings got that gift. So I do take pictures. I do try and remember it. But for me, a lot of it's the experience. What did that water feel like? What was the temperature? What was the wind like? Was the sun shining or not? And how does that relate, right? How did I connect to that water and to nature? And the people I was with on any given swim.
Beautiful. So you are artistic in a way that you have the ability to see and feel. You say you take pictures of the scenery and then you remember the moment, try to capture the feeling, which is definitely an artistic expression and oneness with nature. That's really what, at least for my own interpretation of artistic expression, is being able to feel the environment around you and yourself at the same time. So in your journeys and your experience traveling and swimming in different bodies of water, have you had any, I guess, great lessons that you can kind of pull from, or at least something of a pattern or similar experience?
So that's a really interesting question. I think it's that really every time I go into water, every time I go to another culture, it reminds me that we are all connected. We're connected to the other people around us. We're, again, connected to nature, connected to water. And yet we're all different because every body of water is different. And every person you talk to, they're different from you, but there's so many commonalities and so many things that are the same. And so I really enjoy seeing different cultures and meeting different people and seeing different parts of the world and experiencing their culture and their water in ways that are kind of unique to me.
Yeah, I can see that. It'd be a neat kind of thing to just document and remember all the differences, but all of the similarities as well.
Yeah.
That's really neat to think about. Now, the next thing that kind of comes to mind is the patterns or the tools that you use kind of help other entrepreneurs bring them to joy. Because that is definitely quite a gift to give somebody, is help them back to joy when they are, let's say, lost in entrepreneurship or life. So could you kind of go into a little bit more detail about that?
Yeah, so all of those life lessons, right, and tips from marathon swimming as well, have kind of all fed into the Move to Joy framework, where we really look at your whole person. It's business coaching, but we all know business is only one aspect of our life. And so in the joy, the letters all stand for something that kind of is life encompassing. And then the move is really, we talk about micro habits and evolving. I am a big believer in micro habits and those trigger habits. Because getting up to go to the pool in the dark in the Northeast when it's cold, At 5 in the morning, you need to have some trigger habits in order to make that actually happen. And it's the same thing in life. Any goal you want to achieve, you need to build those habits in. And so that's one of many things we work on in the Move to Joy framework to really help people recapture that joy, because everyone deserves to find the joy in their life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that is one of the things that is a struggle, is that those micro habits, is everybody has them. And
Mhm.
a lot of them are unconscious. They just kind of happen
Correct.
and they don't realize. So it does take that outside perspective to come in. Like, if you just did a little bit of tweaking here and there, it would
Yeah.
be easy for you to kind of get past these habits that kind of hold you back or kind of bring you away from joy, so to speak.
Yeah. And one
So
of
if
the
you had
things,
any, oh, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, one of the things that makes coaching different than, say, reading a book on habits, right? Because there's a ton of books
Mhm.
on habits, is when you work with a coach, right? It's personalized, because anybody can give you a list of habits. You can read a book, you can grab them off the internet, right? But if they don't work for your life, you're not going to hold on to them and you're not going to be able to reach your goals. Bless you.
Excuse me. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So that's one of the things I think that we miss, right? When we talk about micro habits, is there's an awareness, which you brought up, and then you have to change them. But personally, I have found that changing them takes a lot of practice, because you got to try a lot of different things, and it takes so long to build a habit. It's there's a struggle there, um,
I
for most
noticed
of us,
that
at
for
least.
myself. Yeah, I noticed that it is a struggle. It's like cycling. I kind of feel like what happens, at least for me, is I'll find a habit that I really don't like, or it's holding me back, or it's bringing me down, or whatever. And I'm like trying to find a way to kind of counter it. I'm trying to find
Mhm.
something to indicate that it's happening. And it will work for a while, but then I notice
Mhm.
it'll cycle
Yeah.
back. Something will happen to cause it to cycle
Yes.
back. And that's just on my own without like a personalized coach kind of
Yeah.
monitoring me. Do you have any kind of advice that you could give to people that are, let's say, they don't have the funds to hire a personalized coach and they're working on their own?
Um, Specifically for your habits, right, is you need to become aware of the patterns, and that's the hardest thing, right? Um, it Swimming is difficult to relate to for some people, but if you go back to, losing weight or keeping your weight off, right? If you find that you always do, you get stressed and you get tired, and so you end up with fast food, right? Just because you're tired, or you don't eat, which is also a bad habit, right? Because you do need nourishment, particularly if you're
Yeah.
trying to be active. And so you really have to work backwards, right? And unpack what's the trigger behind it. And then obviously with coaching, we dig deep into kind of figure out some of the emotional triggers as well. But if you just pay attention to your patterns, that will usually give you some insights that you can then use. And documenting them in a journal is a great way to kind of help find those patterns.
Mm. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Something that has helped me is writing. I tend to write a lot when I'm kind of trying to find my way through something.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'll journal. Uh, well, I appreciate that, and I can relate to it a lot. I'm sure other people can as well. If somebody's listening and they want to get a hold of you or kind
Mhm.
of sign up for your mentorship or your coaching, is there a way that they can get a hold of you?
Yeah, it's the easiest way is just to go to movetojoycoaching.com, all spelled out. You can also find me under Marie Clark on LinkedIn, Facebook, um, and out and about speaking, webinars. So
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I appreciate everything that you shared with me, um, especially when it comes to the kind of small little things that we can do with our
yeah,
micro habits. and kind of bring ourselves back. I can appreciate the cold plunge because I know that that's something that we talked about and how it is so uncomfortable. But once you start doing it, it's so beneficial, and it's one of those things you have to kind of push yourself through. You don't really want to do it, but once you start doing it, it's good for you. The that would be something, I guess, would be I guess another kind of mental grit or mental fortitude
Yes.
thing to kind of help you. Cold plunge.
Yeah, I was gonna say I only did the cold plunges because I was training for an English Channel relay. I fully admit I don't like them. Don't do them anymore. But it was, we talk about, those habits, right? And the little pieces that you have to continue to do, right, to make progress. And even though I didn't like that part of the training, because I wanted the goal of working with my English Channel relay team, I was willing to do the cold water training.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Which was probably a new experience and a new challenge for you.
it was, and I admire all those people that actually do it because they love it.
Yeah, which I can relate to that. Sometimes you kind of get into that zone where even though it's really uncomfortable, you start to just love it because it's challenging. And then after a while, you don't even notice the discomfort. I appreciate everything that you're sharing with us today. And thank you again for all of the advice and the wisdom. If you have any kind of closing remarks or advice for people that are listening, please go ahead and share.
Yeah, I just want to encourage everyone, no goal is too big. I mean, you're never too old, you're never too out of shape, you're never too whatever to accomplish a goal you want to accomplish. You just have to break it into small pieces, put in those habits, do the habits, don't, stay the course, trust the process, and you can reach those goals.
Thank you again.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Thank you, Marie. And this has been Push with Love with Marie Clark. Please remember to like and subscribe. And until next time, take care.
Bye.